Good day, Zhivoglas is with you. I invite you to meditate with me and study the ancient knowledge about Kundalini that has reached our days. I ask you to record your current state and remember it. Try to be in it the entire time of the lesson. Treat the knowledge you have heard as an independent observer, with the purpose of receiving this information for further reflection. Do not try on any of the mental states. Remain mentally calm. If you feel anxious or excited, stop the session immediately. And so, modern retellings tell that in ancient times, Kundalini Shakti is the divine energy of the universe, which sleeps in a person coiled like a snake at the base of the spine. Its awakening is the main goal of spiritual practice. While Kundalini sleeps, a person identifies himself with the body, and its limitations 3 covers 3 gunas 6 tastes 5 elements. To free oneself, one must raise Kundalini through 6 chakras, and there are actually 9 of them, 3 hidden. To raise Kundalini, one needs a guru, breath control, pranayama, and purity of mind. Gurus say that if you do this incorrectly, you can go crazy, die, or get bogged down in passions. It is especially important to control energy through the nadi channels, especially Sushumna, Surya, and Chandra. Each chakra is associated with an element and reveals new knowledge when Kundalini passes through it. When the Kundalini reaches the Sahasrara at the crown, it merges with the Absolute, and a person gains immortality. I, Zhivoglas, would like to draw your attention to the fact that there were such cases in ancient history, but many centuries have passed since then. There are no such cases in modern practice. Is this knowledge then changed and lost? You may ask. Let's be objective and not deceive ourselves. The ancient legend about Kundalini is indeed true, but it cannot be taken too directly as a ready-made instruction. It is a riddle for the sages. Therefore, I invite you to continue listening to ancient retellings in this vein.
The main thing is to realize that the whole world is a game of consciousness, and liberation comes through overcoming limitations. To stay in the body, you need to learn to lower the Kundalini back. This is Kula Kundalini. Food, sleep, sex, everything influences practice. Food should be clean, or better yet, avoided altogether. Sex is a distraction, especially at the beginning of the journey. Tantra uses the 5 elements for purification, even through the extreme methods of Panchamakara. First, you need to purify the body and mind for years. Control the breath, pranayama, curb desires, especially sex and anger, strengthen the nervous system. Teachers insist on gradualism and do not immediately climb into the chakras, especially the lower ones. First, learn to feel the nadi channels. Without energy control, the Manipura chakra will turn you into a glutton, and the Svadhisthana into a maniac. They teach you to recognize false awakenings. Goosebumps on the spine or chills in the palms are not Kundalini. Real Shakti is felt as a hurricane of fire in the spine. They emphasize the importance of food. Food becomes part of your consciousness. Meat binds you to the earth. Milk gives purity. In Tantra, even water is charged with mantras before drinking, and most importantly, it is indicated. Without a guru, you are like a blind man on the edge of an abyss. He knows when you are ready, gives the right mantra, stops if the energy goes in the wrong direction, and does not let you burn in your own fire.
Now I, Zhivoglas, once again suggest that you return to real time. As you have already heard, the ancient legend promises power and warns of failure without the supervision of a teacher. There are no clear instructions, and I observe that they mix their experiences with the ancient legend, accepting them as the state of Kundalini. What is achieved with the awakening of Kundalini, according to traditional and modern concepts? Enlightenment and liberation, moksha. the merging of individual consciousness with the universal Shiva Shakti, the end of the cycle of rebirths, the state of nirvikalpasamadhi, complete dissolution of the ego in the absolute, supreme bliss, pure joy, and the end of the illusion of duality. I, Zhivoglas, once experienced pure joy in this world. Then, approximately in 1998, I opened my eyes and found myself lying on the ground. I was surrounded by people who looked at me in surprise. I stood up on my feet. At that moment, I did not remember anything and felt happiness and the highest degree of joy. Then my memory began to return to me, and I remembered how I fell, hit the temple of my head on the curb, and then I saw this world as if a shadow, and I saw shadows that moved away from me and disappeared as if into the ground. Then everything changed, and I found myself sitting in the lotus position on a cloud that was slowly rising upward. I looked around and saw this physical world from this cloud, from above. People continued to live their everyday lives and did not see me when I rose up. And then suddenly, everything changed again, and I woke up in a state of complete joy. But this state passed as my memory returned to me. I brought myself to my previous state because I had a goal and a lot of work. But if I wish to return to this state, I can easily do so. Modern meditation practice is not capable of giving this. The state I had was knowledge. It was a mental image that I took with me from the higher world. To find out, you have to be there. No one has cognized Kundalini, but this state is often confused with ordinary meditation. Increased awareness, stopping the internal dialogue, the ability to observe without judgment, energy activation, a surge of strength, creativity, intuition, vibrational awareness on the palms and crown, healing, reducing anxiety, treating depression, heightened intuition, empathy, confidence at work, disappearance of the fear of conflicts, overcoming depression, changing careers after training in India, social and spiritual effects, harmonization of relationships, a sense of unity with all that exists. Yoga lowers cortisol, increases GABA, hence the calmness and feeling of enlightenment. But unfortunately, not enlightenment. But the scientific view and research deny the existence of Kundalini energy as an objective phenomenon. The effects are explained by psychosomatics, self-hypnosis, physiology, activation of the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing and meditation. Kundalini syndrome, spontaneous convulsions, fever, hallucinations are interpreted as mental disorders, not spiritual growth. Analogues of Kundalini exist in shamanism, Num, Taoism, Kai, Greek pneuma, and other ancient traditions. All this points to the common, ancient roots of this knowledge. Neurophysiology research confirms that yoga practices change brain activity and improve cognitive functions. But this is not Kundalini, immortality, or liberation from reincarnation. Chakras, nadis, energy rise not discovered by science. In the modern world, the term Kundalini has become a marketing label. As a result, ignorance leads to the fact that attempts to awaken Kundalini through psychedelics or unprepared practices lead to psychosis. Why is there no scientific evidence? Kundalini is described as energy, but cannot be measured instrumentally. Chakras, nadis, energy rise, are not detected anatomically or physiologically. Symptoms, vibrations, heat, visions are explained by neurophysiology. Activation of the parasympathetic nervous system through breathing, psychosomatic reactions to meditation or stress. Doctors record pathological conditions after practices, and a diagnosis has already been invented: Kundalini syndrome. Psychosis, hallucinations, depersonalization. Example: a 24-year-old man with a Kundalini awakening was hospitalized with delusions and speech breakdown. ICD-11 classifies such cases as trance or dissociative disorders. Cultural interpretations replace facts. All this suggests that a person is capable of uncontrollably creating mental images and being under their influence. To verify any claims of awakening requires MRI studies of the brain, measurement of biochemical markers, clinical trials according to the standards of evidence-based medicine. And while there is no such data, It is too early to talk about awakened Kundalini. I have not gone to the labs for these tests, although I may do so in the future. At the moment, the last thing I heard from the doctor is that the state of recovery and reactivity of my body is very high. What else can I say about myself? I no longer get sick with viral diseases. I never have a headache, but I have not fully figured out my body. There is still work on many organs, but I have discovered that what I was able to master heals people who are in close proximity to me. They have energy, and they recover when doctors no longer give favorable prognoses. Everyone who is near me periodically begins to feel a tone of energy, but this is already a mental influence on others. Let's not get distracted. Now I will reveal to you this legend about Kundalini. Long ago, when the good God created man in this world, the world was a paradise. Man's condition was ideal. Man knew neither diseases nor old age, and was in a wonderful state of joy. All this was possible due to the constant mental influence of God, who protected man from the influence of evil. But then man wished to know evil, and the barrier from evil was removed for man. You already know what happened next. Man began to grow old and get sick. So before the knowledge of evil, when he was in a perfect state, he was in the state of Kundalini. Why was it called that? Each person inherited a physical body in which he resides in this world. And the essence is that each body literally remembers the perfect state that was during the times of paradise on earth. This information is in your body in a folded state, which is not used and is not used because your worldview prevents it. Literal translation: Kundalini in Sanskrit means coiled. Later, a comparison with a coiled snake, which is in a state of dormancy, was added. But this comparison is not correct, since an inexperienced person can associate a mental image of a snake with his body, which is very dangerous. But on the other hand, one can easily understand why it was associated with the image of a snake. In ancient India, a snake, especially a cobra, was a complex and polysemantic symbol. It personified fertility, protection, wisdom, eternal movement, as well as a connection with ancestors and the other world. In general, I think that many of you have understood the essence. To reach Kundalini means to remember. It means to find in your body the mental image of a perfect and good body, which was inherited by it from the first of the people who were in this state. And this guarantees that you will be healthy and will be able to live on earth as long as you wish. Will this happen? I, Zhivoglas, affirm that it will happen, and I invite you to begin working on this together with me. And may the prophecy be fulfilled, which says that there will be no more old age or illness on earth. Bible, Book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 4. I thank the Almighty for this opportunity to share knowledge with you. We will continue in another film. Right. In the meantime, I wish you good times. See you. The spirit is where it wishes. Zhivoglas is with you.